So today we're digging into a stack of interviews with some key people from PromoCares.
Right, PromoCares. It's this, movement really focused on social good within the promotional products industry.
Exactly. And our mission here is to kind of unpack where it came from, how it's grown and impacted the industry.
And highlight what makes their approach to creating change pretty unique.
Yeah, and explore how this shared passion for, doing good has actually become a real force.
Okay, let's get into it.
So right off the bat, you mentioned it's a movement, not an organization. That seems important.
It's fascinating, yeah.
Yeah.
They make that distinction clear. Not a formal tax entity setup, but a community, a movement.
And that's not just words, is it? It shapes how they work.
Totally. It dictates how they operate, how they generate impact. It's foundational.
It tells you it's not like top down or super rigid.
Mm-hmm.
And the origin story, it's almost accidental in a good way.
Yeah, really simple. It literally kicked off with just a chat between two people.
At Expo, the big industry event.
Exactly. Danny Rosin was one.
Right.
No big strategy meeting, no funding pitch, just talking.
Just talking in the hallway, basically.
Pretty much. And born from this idea that had been sort of simmering, especially for Danny.
And the core idea was?
This concept, kindness, should be a KPI, a key performance indicator.
Wow. Okay, stop there for a second. Kindness as a KPI.
Yeah. Think about that in a business context, especially this industry, which can seem really transactional sometimes.
Right. Sales targets, profit margins,
Yeah,
kindness.
exactly. Elevating it to that level, it's a pretty radical thought.
It really makes you pause. It's saying social impact isn't just, a nice extra thing.
Right. It's something you should actively measure, strive for, like any other business goal.
Now, initially, there was maybe a bit of a strategic angle, too, wasn't there? Like, could social good differentiate the industry?
Oh, absolutely. They explored that. Could this be a marketing strategy? A way to maybe get into certain accounts,
Right.
A tactical advantage.
So that was part of the early thinking.
It was. But the interviews really show how it moved beyond that pretty quickly.
How so?
The genuine passion just took over. The people involved, the very first step wasn't drafting a mission statement or anything.
What was it?
It was gathering people,
Yeah.
a diverse group, all passionate at an industry meeting.
Okay.
And they sat around a table, but instead of jumping into business strategy, they shared stories.
Personal stories.
Yeah. About nonprofits they personally cared about, impacts that, really mattered to them individually.
Ah, okay. Sharing those personal connections, that sounds like where the real trust started building.
That's what it sounds like. Roger Burnett mentioned that. He said they didn't know exactly what they were going to do yet,
Right.
but they knew who was in the room, who said yes. They felt that collective firepower.
And hearing those stories, he said it made them realize those individual efforts deserved like a bigger stage, amplification.
Exactly. So their first job really was just telling those stories, being cheerleaders for the good already happening.
And that just perfectly illustrates that core principle, doesn't it? The power isn't from a hierarchy.
Nope. It's from a group of people with a shared belief, collaborating because they want to, built on trust.
It's this volunteer brain trust, drawing from everywhere in the industry.
Right. Distributors, suppliers, service folks, even leaders like PPAI board members, all corners.
That diversity must be key. Mandy Rudd talked about that, didn't she?
She did. She mentioned that, yeah, there's some overlapping skills, sure, but you also get these distinct pockets of expertise.
Like someone's great at logistics, another at marketing.
Exactly. Someone else connects with nonprofits easily. A group with all the same skills might get stuck.
Right. You need different perspectives.
This mix brings different views, different capabilities. It lets them tackle complex stuff that might feel paralyzing, as Mandy put it, to a more uniform group.
It's that collective attitude of, okay, we'll figure it out. We'll just do it.
That energy.
So starting from that place, shared belief, diverse talent, they couldn't just stay storytellers forever, right?
Yeah. No, they talked about needing to evolve.
To become teachers, provide like toolkits for action.
Yeah, that was a necessary step. Telling stories is great. It's inspiring. But people eventually ask, okay, how do I do this?
How to get involved? How does this fit my business?
Precisely. PromoCares saw that need and started shifting, providing actual resources, frameworks.
And that shift seems to have had some real, measurable effects on the industry.
Oh, definitely. Tangible impacts.
Let's talk about those. One big one that stood out was influencing the industry search engines. Sage, ESP.
That's a huge win.
Oh.
A really big deal for the movement. Think about it. For years, you searched by product type, color, price point.
Standard stuff.
Now you can actually filter by social good criteria, sustainability, ethical sourcing.
Which makes it way easier for distributors and clients to find and choose products that align with those values.
Absolutely. And Danny Rosen actually brought this up way back, like 2017. He asked if they could add that function.
Wow. So seeing that actually happen.
It's pretty remarkable. An idea becoming reality within the industry infrastructure.
It's like seeing a prediction come true. And it's not just search filters, is it? CSR, corporate social responsibility.
Right. That's moved from being kind of a niche idea to a core pillar.
For the big organizations, PPAI, ASI.
Yeah, in their strategic planning. Denise Taschereau, who's been on the PPAI board, confirmed that.
So PromoCares played a role there.
A significant one, she said, acting as an anchor. It's sort of legitimizing and solidifying the importance of social good within those formal structures.
You can see it on the ground too, right? Trade shows like Expo, more focus on sustainability, social good stuff.
Definitely. And in supplier catalogs, they're highlighting these aspects now.
And it's not just the small guys anymore. A lot of the top 40 companies are doing this now, incorporating CSR.
Many are, yeah. It suggests it's becoming more standard, part of how business is done.
Which is a huge shift.
It signals a real cultural shift. But, it hasn't all been easy sailing.
No. What are the challenges?
Well, getting broader engagement. Moving beyond that core group, those initial, innovators and early adopters.
Reaching that critical mass for real industry-wide change, that's always tough.
It is. It remains an ongoing effort.
And I can see how, if you're a small business owner, maybe a solopreneur, figuring out how to actually do this stuff can feel, overwhelming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially without the right tools or support.
Right.
And then there's that persistent, tricky challenge of defining what's authentically sustainable or ethical.
Versus greenwashing.
Precisely. When companies make things look good environmentally or socially, but it's mostly marketing spin. No real substance behind it.
Navigating that is hard for everyone.
It really is.
Yeah.
And PromoCares sees these hurdles. They've positioned themselves as like a connector.
Linking different parts of the supply chain, community needs.
Yeah. And global challenges. Providing the inspiration, sure, but more and more, offering actual methods for execution.
Practical help.
And advocating for tools that work for any size business. Accessible tools. Right size, they call it. From the solopreneur up to the big players.
Being that megaphone for good, as Meg Erber put it. Amplifying the positive stuff.
Amplifying and enabling.
It's that active role, not just talking, but facilitating. Which leads us to their campaigns, right? The move to specific fundraising actions.
This feels like a really key evolution, moving from promoting others' good work to starting their own collective actions.
Giving people that toolkit we talked about.
Exactly. Making it tangible. And they've had success. Collectively, they've raised over $70,000 through things like Sleeping for Good.
That was for homelessness.
Right. And the Ukraine effort that raised over $50,000 just selling T-shirts.
That's incredible for a volunteer group with no formal structure. Roger Burnett mentioned they were getting close to $100,000 raised overall.
It really shows the power of this collective model.
And building on that, they launched what feels like maybe their most ambitious campaign yet, Water for Good.
Yes. This one feels really integrated.
Yeah.
Very smart.
Okay, tell us about Water for Good. The cause is obviously critical clean water access.
Hugely critical.
Yeah.
And they connect it directly back to the industry's footprint, especially in communities involved in the supply chain.
Like in Mexico, where a lot of production happens.
Exactly. And the partnership is key. Planet Water Foundation.
Why Planet Water?
Well, the interviews reveal why this felt doable. A specific PromoCares board member, Scott Pearson.
Okay.
He already had a relationship with them. And, crucially, he had practical, hands-on experience building water towers with his own company.
So he'd actually done this before.
Yes. That personal connection, that proven expertise, it gave everyone confidence. They knew this wasn't just a nice idea, it was achievable.
Having that know-how within the group itself, invaluable.
Totally. And the campaign mechanism, how it works, is pretty clever. It's built right into the supply chain.
How so?
Suppliers. And it's a great list. Hirsch, Gordon Sinclair, Starline, HPG, HIT, Alpha Broader, SOC 101, Raining Rose, SNS, NC Custom, Snugs. Quite a few.
Wow, yeah. Big names.
They donate a percentage of sales, but only from specific products, often popular ones.
So they're not just cutting a check. It's tied to sales.
Right. Directly linked. And then Distributors use specific tools like a dedicated catalog. They mentioned the Zoom catalog platform.
Okay, Zoom catalog. So it's a special collection of products.
Exactly. It's curated. These are the products where a portion of the sale goes directly to Water for Good.
So the distributor gets this catalog. Maybe it's a link, a PDF.
Right, or a presentation tool.
Yeah.
And they take it straight to their clients.
And they can say, look, buy these specific items and money goes to build a water tower.
Precisely. It's designed as a ready-made program. Takes the guesswork out for everyone.
That is a perfect example of providing the actual toolkit. Not just concepts, but execution.
It really feels like, as you said, maybe a new era for them, making participation super accessible.
For the client, too, their promo purchase isn't just branding anymore.
It's directly linked to building something life-changing, and the impact is so clear.
Water towers, providing clean, safe water.
Yeah, and we know from Planet Water's past projects, these towers can produce millions of liters of clean water. Over 30 million liters mentioned from prior builds, serving hundreds, maybe thousands of people for years.
That's an incredible metric, so concrete.
Makes the impact easy to grasp.
And framing it as tackling the hard stuff feels right. It acknowledges the industry's footprint and offers a way to give back positively right into those supply chain communities. Like Scott Pearson said, there's responsibility there.
Yeah, responsibility to do good back through those channels. And it's an evolution from, say, the Ukraine T-shirts.
Just so.
Well, that was successful, but it needed a separate setup. Water for Good is woven into existing sales channels. Suppliers, distributors are directly involved through product sales. Much more integrated.
So stepping back, looking at the whole PromoCares story.
Yeah.
It's volunteer-driven, this diverse brain trust. What else makes it tick?
It really comes back to the people, I think, and authenticity.
Authenticity.
Yeah. They seem to value what makes individuals unique, even embracing personal passions outside work. Meg Gerber talked about that.
How being real resonates.
Exactly. In an industry like promo, which can be highly commoditized, being authentic can actually be a competitive edge, building deeper connections.
And that authenticity helps fuel collaboration, right? Even between competitors.
Absolutely. Water for Good is a perfect example. You've got suppliers who compete every day.
Working together on this campaign, co-opetition.
That willingness to unite for a bigger purpose is really powerful. And crucially, getting involved seems genuinely open.
To anyone, regardless of company size.
That's the message. Big company, solo operator, doesn't matter. They focus on right-sizing things, providing tools and support so anyone can participate. Denise Taschereau really hit that point about accessibility.
So if you feel passionate about one of their pillars, community impact, responsible sourcing, environment, DE&I,
there's a place for you. You can find support, find the tools to actually make a difference.
It sounds like they're demystifying social good for the industry.
Yeah, showing how it can be done within this industry context, building practical tools, making sure people feel supported to jump in.
And right now, that Water for Good campaign, especially the Facebook group they have for it.
That's a really easy entry point, yeah. You can join, learn from others already doing it, get those resources like the Zoom catalog.
And start making an impact just by suggesting those products to clients.
Exactly.
Okay.
It lowers the barrier to entry significantly.
So we've really traced the journey of PromoCares here. From, just a simple conversation about kindness.
To becoming this force rallying the industry, tackling big challenges, making tangible impacts like building water towers.
It really shows the power of that shared belief, collective action, even maybe especially when it's volunteer-driven.
It's quite inspiring, honestly.
So here's a thought for you, the listener, to take away. Given this success story, turning passion into real impact with campaigns like Water for Good, what other big challenges, either in the industry or the world, could you potentially tackle?
Yeah, leveraging your unique position in the promotional products industry, either on your own or maybe by joining a collective effort like this one. What could that look like for you?